I'm Vinnie Politan. The subject of my investigation is Sean Diddy Combs, a man who's been in the public spotlight for years, but now is in trouble for what prosecutors say has been happening behind closed doors. Allegations and conduct that has some comparing it to Epstein-like behavior. Here's the story. At one time, he was the king of hip-hop, one of the early pioneers who took his music and culture and turned it into hundreds of millions of dollars, establishing himself as a true power broker in the world of entertainment. Sean Puffy P. Diddy Combs has gone by many names and nicknames, but now he has a new title, federal indictee. Diddy has been accused of engaging in sex trafficking and racketeering, charges that could keep him locked up for the rest of his life. The allegations are serious and include recording lewd acts, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, obstruction of justice, and other offenses. Prosecutors say he abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. Diddy has denied all the allegations, but will have to defend himself in federal court when prosecutors try the case and try to lock up Diddy for decades. Unreal. When you think about it, when I think about it, you go back in time. It seems like yesterday, but it was a while ago when he burst onto the scene. And then you saw the rise to fame and fortune and really becoming a mogul in the entertainment business. You talk about a fall from grace. I want you to take a listen. This is the U.S. Attorney Damian Williams, whose office is handling the case against Diddy and investigated the case against Diddy. And in particular, zeroing in on what seems to be an ongoing, I don't know if you would call it a party or something that was happening that would often result in this type of conduct. And it had a strange name. They call them freak-offs. Take a listen.
The indictment alleges that Combs abused and exploited women and other people for years, and in a variety of ways. As alleged, Combs used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sexual performances with male commercial sex workers, some of whom he transported or caused to be transported over state lines. Combs allegedly planned and controlled the sex performances, which he called freak-offs, and he often electronically recorded them. The freak-offs sometimes lasted days at a time, involved multiple commercial sex workers, and often involved a variety of narcotics, such as ketamine, ecstasy, and GHB, which Combs distributed to the victims to keep them obedient and compliant. As alleged, when Combs didn't get his way, he was violent, and he subjected victims to physical, emotional, and verbal abuse so that they would participate in the freak-offs, and that Combs hit, kicked, threw objects at, and dragged victims, at times by their hair. On one occasion in March of 2016, that conduct was captured on video and later reported in the media. Specifically, Combs kicked, dragged, and threw a vase at a victim in a Los Angeles hotel when the victim was attempting to flee. As alleged, these assaults often resulted in injuries to the victims, which took days or weeks to heal. In addition to the violence, the indictment alleges that Combs threatened and coerced victims to get them to participate in the freak-offs. He used the embarrassing and sensitive recordings he made of the freak-offs as collateral against the victims. He used his business and employees of that business and other close associates to get his way. Those individuals allegedly included high-ranking supervisors in the business, personal assistants, security staff, and household staff. The indictment alleges that those individuals facilitated the freak-offs. They booked the hotel rooms and stocked them with the supplies, including drugs, baby oil, personal lubricant, extra linens, and lighting. When the hotel rooms got damaged, they helped clean it up. They arranged for victims and commercial sex workers to travel for the freak-offs, and they delivered large quantities of cash to Combs to pay for the commercial sex workers.
This is some extreme behavior that's being alleged here. And it brings me to my first question, and it's about these freak-offs, which is, what exactly happened at Diddy's freak-offs? What's going on here? Do people know about this? Was this a secret? Let me bring in my guest going to help us through all of this. Joining me tonight, celebrity blogger and columnist Perez Hilton is with us, and editor-in-chief of Hop Enquirer, Dennis Byron. Thank you both for being here. Dennis Byron, let me ask you, freak-offs. Was everyone using this term? Had you ever heard this term before? And what's your understanding of who's going to these things?
I know for a fact I'm not one of the people who participate in any freak-offs. Well, I've been covering Mr. Combs for well over 30 years, and I've been invited to parties as a member of the press. I have never personally witnessed this. I've heard chatter about this, but for the most part, most of his parties have been well attended by some of the biggest names in entertainment. So if something happened after 2 or 3 in the morning, I wasn't there. So, you know, I've heard the term, but I've never participated in any freak-offs with Mr. Combs or anyone else. But again, these are some serious allegations.
Oh, absolutely. Dennis, when you first started getting wind of all these allegations becoming very public, did it shock you? Did it surprise you after covering this man for so many years professionally?
What shocked me was the video of Cassie Ventura and seeing it in real time, because Diddy has a public persona that it hadn't been tarnished up until that video. While we've heard a lot of rumors, the video that we see, we heard a lot of rumors about, you know, he's not the guy to mess with. We know he's very powerful. We know that he can make or break a career. But that video really shocked me. I think that was the moment I had to take a step back and question whether or not these other claims there's truth to some of these other claims.
All right, Perez Hilton, Dennis Byron staying with us. Coming up next.